You're listening to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, the show that proves no one stumbles upon success ever. With your host, Lou Need. Every Mondays and Thursdays, we deliver cold hard evidence behind the power of a robust morning routine. Get ready to be transformed by the renewal of your mind.
Hello, morning enthusiasts. Welcome to the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast. I am your host, Lunid Lewis, and today I have the honor of introducing a very important special guest to the show, Victoria Shaw. Victoria is a licensed professional counselor and spiritual coach who combines her background in training in psychology and counseling with her intuitive gift to help clients heal, grow, realize their spiritual and full personal potential. She especially loves working with people who are committed to using their struggles and life experiences to fuel their own spiritual awakening. Victoria is the author of 4 self-help books for parents, children, and teens. Victoria, welcome to the show. It is my pleasure. Tell us about your journey and your background.
So my background originally was as a research psychologist. So my whole life, I was always interested in those big philosophical questions, like what is consciousness and how does the brain work? And so I pursued a PhD in cognitive psychology and did work in developmental psychology, which is basically like thinking and reasoning and how kids develop their minds and all that good kind of stuff. And then realized as I was a few years out of graduate school with my PhD, and I realized I didn't like doing research. And, I was a research psychologist. So I took some time off, started my family, wrote some books. And then I started to hear this deeper call that there was something else I was supposed to do. And psychology was calling me back. All of that was calling me back, but sort of in a different way. And as I started to tune in deeper to that call, I realized that what I was really being called to do is to be of service and to awaken my intuition. And as that happened for me, so your intuition is sort of your inner voice, your inner guidance. And the more I listened to that, the more the path of my life unfolded before me. And I followed that. Went back to school and became a counselor, and I'm a licensed counselor in the state of Connecticut. But I also do intuitive coaching and spiritual coaching with people all over the world. So that's sort of been my journey. And I still, I'm able to draw on and use all of my training, both in counseling and psychology. But now it's all in service to that greater spiritual connection I get through my intuition.
Yeah, I love that you couple the psychotherapy and counseling into your coaching because, you don't have, you can do both. Like you said, it's the higher calling.
Absolutely. And I think that anyone who does anything, whether you're an entrepreneur, an artist, or a therapist, or a doctor, if you're doing it really well, you're listening to your inner wisdom. You're tapping into that. The mind is really helpful. I think most people live mostly in their minds. And I think the mind is really, really helpful for sort of understanding things and explaining and communicating them. But real inspiration and real wisdom, I truly believe, comes from that higher spiritual place, and it comes to you through your intuitive knowing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you because I too have my PhD in psychology. And and I started working with the substance abuse population, and I realized, that's not all I want to do. How about executive coaching? How about working organizational psychology? There's a whole bigger world of opportunities there. And so for me, I didn't want to put that counseling and clinical hat on for the rest of my life. Similar to your journey.
Absolutely. And I think we all find our way. And I love my education and I had a blast and I learned a lot. But I'm also happy not to be limited by that. And I use it as, sort of a springboard for the other things that I do. But again, I always lead with my soul. Yeah. And that's what I try to help others, that work with me to do as well.
That inner voice, that intuition is powerful. It has been my guidance as well, when to shift gears, because I shift from the clinical psych to the organizational psych because I knew I didn't want to do therapy. All my life. And so that has been guiding me. So you and I was able to be guided by our intuition, that power. So how can others step into their own power?
The first thing that you need to do is to recognize it's a thing, because I work with many people and I've worked with, many clients who are highly intuitive and they've been using this their whole lives and they're not aware. And sometimes just becoming aware what is your intuition and what is not, and really, allowing yourself to tap into that more and follow that more can be a game changer. And people are using it already, but the more that you set that intention to use it even more, the more it blossoms. And then I work with other people that are so stuck in their minds that they don't even know their intuition is knocking on the door, but they don't even hear the sound, And, so for those people, it's really about, again, setting that intention to open up to your inner wisdom. And also, to have the courage to learn to still your mind and to step out of the known, because intuition works through the unknown, right? It's that beginner's mind where we have to be in a space of not knowing to allow our higher wisdom to come through. And so, getting comfortable with that and getting comfortable with not having all the answers right away, because intuition is there's an act of surrender when you tap into your wisdom, and you get what you get, and you don't always get all the answers in complete form. I didn't know what I was going to be doing today 10 years ago, but I did. I was shown each step on the path that I needed to take, and that was enough. And so, for some of us, we need to let go of that, the way that egoic, small little mind wants to control every detail and be comfortable stepping into the now in that space of the unknown.
And in the subconscious mind, allowing the subconscious mind to become at your demand, because it's waiting for you to ask it to do anything, and it will provide that answer.
Absolutely.
It really powerful stuff to quiet the mind down, like you say. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise out there. It's internal. There's a lot of chatter in our heads. Right. In
Absolutely.
Our minds that are going up. I like to call them ants, automated negative thoughts, because yeah, what they are. Yeah, because we have over 60,000 thoughts a day, and believe it or not, 90% of those are negative.
Right.
And then a bunch of them are the same ones from yesterday. So it's hard to really grow and develop if you don't generate any new thoughts.
Right. And again, intuition, the way that I see it, is beneath the level of thought altogether. And it's true. The mind skews very negative. The brain has that negativity bias that we all know about. It's a survival mechanism. It's just how we're wired. And we can absolutely shift that and become more positive. But intuition is not even about your thoughts. I mean, the more positive minded you're able to be, and the more you're able to have awareness of that negativity and not be caught up in it, the higher your vibration and the more your intuition can start to connect and work through you. But I think it's also really important to know the best way to connect with your intuition, period, is to learn to still the mind, because those are the moments when you hear it the strongest and the brightest. And those can be things like meditation, which is a great thing to be part of anyone's morning routine. But it can also be things like taking a bath or a shower, going for a long run or a drive. I mean, people find it all sorts of different ways. Automatic writing. So when you're just stream of consciousness writing and you're just kind of in the flow, all of these things are ways to get the mind out of the equation and really tap into your inner wisdom.
Yeah.
And being aware too of those moments, because people always ask me, well, how do I know it's my intuition? And oftentimes, the proof is in the pudding. So as you start to learn to listen to that inner voice, you'll start to know, what pays off and what doesn't. But also there's a different feeling tone, for me, at least with my intuition. It's always positive. It's always clear. It's always calm. It just feels different. So when we learn what our intuition feels like, that can be a really another powerful way of knowing, when you're tapping in.
It's always consistent.
Yes.
It's always there, because it does not go away, because it is your innate calling.
Exactly.
And so if you're hearing the same story, the same nudge, if you're getting the same nudge from the universe, from your subconscious mind, that's an opportunity for you to act. That's an encouragement for you to act.
Absolutely. And if you're hearing the same story over and over again about, how your life is difficult, or you're not good enough, or you're never going to be successful, or that is not your intuition. That is your mind. Those are those negative patterns that you were talking about before. So again, with your intuition, it doesn't always tell you what you want to hear, but it's always kind.
Yes.
coming from a loving place.
Yeah. Tell us, how do you get up, dress up, and show up? What's your morning routine like? I know meditation is part of it.
I was dreading this question because my morning routine is somewhat unconventional. I am at the moment, I am not an empty nester because all my little ducklings have come home during the current pandemic, but I was an empty nester. And so part of my joy of finally being an empty nester was to have a really loosey-goosey morning routine and just enjoy not having to get up in the morning and do anything for anybody else. And so I'm still enjoying that. So my morning routine is spending some time in bed. I usually listen to spiritual books on tape for a little bit. And so I can kind of have that half awake, half asleep, just kind of soaking in that energy for the day. I like to sometimes pick a divination card on my phone, from an app. So just a little nudge from the universe of what my message for the day is. And then I just go about my day. Some days I meditate. Some days I would save my meditation for later in the day. I usually meditate between every client. So I get a lot of dropping into that place of presence just in my work. But for me, I like to keep it kind of loose and, ask my soul each morning, what do you need right now to be at peace and to get through the next day?
Mm-hmm. That alpha state you described earlier, between half awake and half asleep.
Yeah.
That's where the mind is so impressionable.
Yes.
This is a good time for affirmation. This is a good time for meditation. You have a very small window when you are like rubbing your eyes,
yeah,
and getting some light into your eyes. And so it's a good time to meditate.
Yeah, it surely is.
Quiet the mind. Take some deep breaths because the mind will instill whatever is fed into it at that time. I know Oprah Winfrey and Warren Buffett, they read at that time. They meditate. They say affirmation. Even The Rock, before going to work out, is getting grounded.
Yes, so important. And the other thing that I practice most mornings is gratitude. And this is a Louise Hay. I did a beautiful, I think it's on Audible. I can't really know where I found it, but a beautiful meditation by Louise Hay where she just has you thank everything. And I just did it one morning randomly, and it so stuck with me because gratitude is such a beautiful energy anytime. It's just a freebie way to, up level your vibration and just feel better. And so thank you, bed. Thank you, sheets. Thank you, sunlight. Thank you, house. Thank you, alarm clock. That's not everyone's thank you, thank you to my fuzzy puppy for waking me up, whatever. But, I definitely thank my bed every morning because I love my bed and I'm so grateful for her for, sticking with me through the night.
Yeah.
But gratitude is another great way to wake up. And with gratitude too, you can fake it. I mean, I don't really have to fake it because I'm a pretty grateful person. But you can find anything to be grateful for. We'll start your day on such a beautiful note.
Yeah, you can fake it until you make it at this level because
exactly.
your brain, you're tricking the brain to realize you're at this vibration, and you eventually will be. You'll wake up and like, oh man, I am really grateful. I'm really thankful for my legs working right now. I'm really thankful for my heart beating and pumping blood into my system.
Right, and you can start with anything.
It's so simple. Yeah, the simplicity. I love how you're just saying you're thankful for your bed, but it will grow because if you keep it basic, you will give yourself more, breed more things to be grateful for throughout your day.
Right. And it can be anything. Exactly. Because when you start the day with that energy, you're drawing positive things to you. You're drawing good experiences to you. You're drawing more things to be grateful of. And you can start by being grateful of, even I tell people sometimes, especially, if I'm working with someone who's sort of more low energy and a little bit depressed, be grateful for the lack of something that, the lack of suckiness in this moment. You can start anywhere, right? And for many people, it's that first cup of coffee, whatever, I'm not a coffee drinker, but I know many people who are. Wherever you can find it, start there because it's a beautiful thing and it's transformative and it's a great energy to start your day.
It's the fastest way to get rid of sour mind, brain fog, unhappiness. It's the quickest way. to hack into your mental and become very, very present. Victoria, tell us, how can we connect with you?
You can connect with me. I offer, you can connect with me in many different ways. I am launching my very own podcast, or it just launched, Intuitive Connection, available on all platforms. So if you want to learn more about how to connect with your inner wisdom, that would be a great place to start. You can also find my website, which is victoriashawintuitive.com. I have an online class, self-paced online class for awakening your intuition. And I also offer one-to-one sessions all over the world. And let's see, I think I'm on Instagram and Facebook. And I post videos and all sorts of good information regularly. And I think that about covers the ways that you can connect with me.
Fantastic. I thank you so much for sharing today and coming on the show, Victoria.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm glad we connected. You have a beautiful energy, and I'm glad we made this work. Thank you.
You too. Okay. Have a blessed one. Bye.
You too. Bye.
All right, morning enthusiasts, that's it for today's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you love the Best Morning Routine Ever podcast, we'd love to hear from you. So go ahead and subscribe, rate, and give a review on iTunes or Google Play. While you're at it, tell a friend about the show. Be sure to visit bestmorningroutineever.com and our Facebook group to join the conversation, access the show notes, and discover our fantastic free bonus content. Until next time,